The large viewing screen showed a blue and green planet spinning slowly in the darkness of space. 23 alien council members stared at the image with expressions ranging from boredom to mild disgust. "This is the third examination of Sol 3 in the past century," said council leader Zexstar, his gray skin wrinkling around his four eyes. "I see no reason to waste more resources on this primitive world." Another council member, her tentacles waving lazily, pointed at the screen. "The creatures still fight among themselves over imaginary borders. They poison their own air and water. They have barely touched their own moon." Zexstar nodded. "Exactly. They are no threat and possess nothing we need. The official classification remains Wildlife Preserve. Continue the communication jamming and sensor screens. No contact is authorized." The Galactic Confederation had watched Earth for centuries. Their technology was so advanced that humans never knew they were there. Ships larger than Earth's biggest cities hovered at the edges of the solar system, completely hidden. Probes disguised as asteroids or comets gathered information. Special devices blocked Earth's radio and radar signals from detecting anything unusual in space. The meeting ended, and the council members returned to more important matters. Earth was forgotten again, just another primitive planet in a galaxy full of advanced civilizations. Meanwhile, in a research lab on Earth, Dr. Allison Clark squinted at her computer screen. The lab was quiet at 3 a.m., just how she liked it. For 3 years, she had worked on quantum communication technology. Tonight, something strange was happening. "That can't be right," she muttered to herself, checking her equipment again. The quantum signals she sent were bouncing back with patterns she hadn't seen before. It was as if they hit something in space that shouldn't be there. She ran the test again. Same result. Allison reached for her phone and called the one person she knew would understand. 20 minutes later, Captain Peter Murphy of the United States Space Force walked into her lab. His uniform was slightly wrinkled, and his eyes showed he had been sleeping when she called. "This better be good, Allison. It's the middle of the night," he said, but his smile showed he wasn't really angry. "Look at this," she said, pointing to her screen. "Every time I send a quantum signal past the orbit of Mars, it comes back changed. Something is out there, Pete, something that doesn't want to be seen." Peter's smile disappeared. He looked at the data carefully, then pulled out his secure phone. "General, this is Captain Murphy. We have a broken mirror situation." "Yes, sir. Level 1 confirmation." Dr. Clark found it. He hung up and looked at Allison with serious eyes. "What's broken mirror?" she asked. "A code name for something we've suspected for years. We're not alone, Allison, and whatever is out there has been hiding from us. Your quantum signals probably got through their jamming technology." Allison felt her heart beat faster. "Are you saying aliens are watching us?" "Not just watching. Hiding themselves from us. The question is why." Alarms suddenly blared throughout the building. Red emergency lights flashed in the hallway. Peter's phone rang again. His face grew pale as he listened. "We need to go. Now," he said, grabbing Allison's arm. "One of our patrol ships in the outer solar system just made contact with something that shouldn't exist, and now it's not responding." As they rushed from the lab, Allison asked, "What do we do against aliens with technology advanced enough to hide from our entire planet?" Peter's answer was not what she expected. "We show them they made a big mistake. They thought Earth was alone and helpless." A small, grim smile appeared on his face. "They don't know about our fleet." "What fleet?" Allison asked, confused. "The one we've been building in secret for the last 30 years. The one that's about to change everything." Deep in space, beyond the orbit of Neptune, large metal doors began to open on what appeared to be ordinary asteroids. Lights flickered on inside massive hidden shipyards, and in a command center carved into the dwarf planet Eris, Admiral Frank Collins received the alert he had prepared for his entire career. Earth was about to reveal itself to the stars. 30 years earlier, in a small observatory in New Mexico, A young radio astronomer named Bill Cooper made a discovery that would change human history. At first, he thought the strange signal pattern was a mistake in his equipment. He checked everything twice, then called his supervisor. Within days, similar signals were detected by observatories around the world. They were faint and seemed random to most scientists, but a few people noticed something important. The signals stopped and started in patterns that couldn't be natural. In a secret meeting room deep under the Pentagon, leaders from major world powers gathered. Old enemies sat side by side, united by fear and determination. "These signals prove we are not alone," said the American president. "And whatever is out there is trying to hide from us. That can only mean one thing." The Russian leader nodded slowly. "They do not see us as equals. They watch us like animals in a zoo." For once, the world's powers agreed. If aliens were watching Earth and hiding themselves, humans needed to prepare in secret. That night, the Earth Defense Alliance was born. Its mission: build a fleet powerful enough to protect Earth, all while keeping it hidden from both the public and the watching aliens. Admiral Frank Collins was just a young lieutenant then. Now, 30 years later, he stood on the bridge of the EDA flagship U.S. Liberty, the largest warship humans had ever built. "Status report," he ordered, his voice calm despite the emergency. A young officer named Greg Phillips replied, "All ships reporting in, sir. Operation Sanctuary is fully activated." On the main screen, small dots of light appeared, each representing a ship of Earth's secret fleet. 120 capital ships and over 600 smaller vessels, all hidden for decades among asteroids and moons, in underground bases on Mars, and in the shadows of the outer planets. "How long until all ships are assembled?" asked Collins. 8 hours, sir," replied Greg. Collins nodded. 8 hours to gather a fleet that most humans didn't know existed. A fleet built with technology decades beyond what was publicly known on Earth. In a nearby room, Dr. Allison Clark watched in amazement as Captain Peter Murphy showed her the true extent of human space technology. "How is this possible?" she asked. "I had no idea we had even been to Mars, let alone built all this." Peter smiled. "The world's best-kept secret. Every nation contributed their brightest minds and resources. We've had bases on Mars and Europa for 20 years. Mining operations in the asteroid belt, shipyards hidden inside moons and hollowed-out asteroids." Allison looked at the fleet diagram on the screen. "But why keep it secret from your own people?" "2 reasons," Peter explained. "First, we didn't want to cause panic. Second, and more important, we didn't want them to know we knew." "Them?" "The aliens watching us." "Exactly. We detected their jamming technology years ago, but couldn't break through it. Your quantum communication breakthrough changed everything. Now they know that we know." Admiral Collins entered the room. "Dr. Clark, welcome aboard the Liberty. Your discovery moved up our timeline, but maybe that's for the best." He pointed to the screen showing the damaged patrol ship. The U.S. Scout was our newest patrol vessel. It detected an alien ship and followed protocol by requesting identification. The alien ship fired without warning. "Are they dead?" Allison asked quietly. "Unknown, but the Scout managed to send a distress signal with the alien ship's position before going silent." Collins turned to face them fully, his eyes hard with determination. "For 30 years, we've prepared for this day. We built this fleet hoping we'd never need it. But now, humanity has been attacked without provocation." He tapped a button on the console. Throughout the fleet, on every ship, his next words echoed. "All ships, this is Admiral Collins. Code Omega is now in effect. I repeat, Code Omega is in effect. This is not a drill." Across the solar system, massive ships emerged from their hiding places. Engines flared to life as they set course to converge near Neptune's orbit. Weapons systems powered up. Alert klaxons sounded as crews rushed to battle stations. The hidden fleet of humanity was going to war. Commander Vrilix's of the Galactic Confederation survey ship Seeker was having a very bad day. What should have been a routine check of the primitive planet had turned into a disaster. "Explain again how this happened," he demanded, his scaled skin turning a deep purple with anger. His science officer, Troll, nervously tapped her claws together. "We detected unusual energy signatures from the outer system. They did not match any known natural phenomena. So you decided to approach the primitive planet directly, against protocols. The readings were coming from their fourth planet, and some of their moons," Troll explained. "According to our records, the primitives have only visited their own moon briefly. They have sent simple probes to other planets, but nothing more." Vrilix's hissed in frustration. The Confederation had strict rules about contact with developing species. His career would be over if he violated those rules. "We just wanted a closer look," Troll continued. "We didn't expect to find an actual ship out there. That was the problem. As they approached Earth's solar system, they had encountered something impossible. A human ship, far from Earth, patrolling the space near Neptune. It was small," said the pilot. "Just a Corvette-class vessel by our standards. But it was definitely built by the humans." Vrilix's remembered the shock he felt when the human vessel appeared on their sensors. The humans weren't supposed to have that kind of technology yet. The Confederation's records must be wrong. "Play the communication again," he ordered. A screen lit up, showing the human female in a uniform. Her voice was calm and professional. "Unknown vessel, this is Captain Kelly Bennett of the Earth Defense Alliance vessel U.S. Scout. You have entered Earth-controlled space. Please identify yourself and state your intentions." Earth-controlled space. Defense Alliance. None of this matched what the Confederation knew about humans. They were supposed to be primitive, divided, barely able to reach their own moon. And then what happened? Vrilix's asked, though he already knew the answer. The weapons officer looked down. I panicked, sir. A primitive species shouldn't have ships out this far. I thought it might be a trick by the Orion cartel. I fired a warning shot. A warning shot that hit their engine section," Vrilix's said coldly. "It wasn't supposed to hit them. But their ship moved suddenly, and..." The weapons officer trailed off. Now they had attacked an emerging species, a serious crime under Confederation law. Worse, the human ship had sent some kind of signal before its lights went dark. "We should report this to the Council," Troll suggested. Vrilix's shook his head. "And tell them what? That we violated protocols, approached a protected planet, and fired on a species that shouldn't even have space travel yet. No, we need to fix this ourselves." He made a decision. "Set course to capture the damaged human vessel. We'll retrieve their crew, repair the damage we caused, and return them safely. Perhaps we can still avoid." Alarms suddenly blared throughout the ship. The sensor operator's eyes widened in shock. "Commander, multiple objects approaching at high speed. They're coming from all directions." "Show me," Vrilix's ordered. The main screen displayed their surroundings. What he saw made his blood run cold. Ships, dozens of them. Human ships, emerging from hiding places throughout the solar system. Some were small, like the one they had hit. Others were much larger. "Impossible," he whispered. "The records say they barely have space stations, let alone warships." A massive vessel appeared directly in their path. It was enormous, easily matching a Confederation light cruiser in size. Weapons ports lined its hull. The name U.S. Liberty was clearly visible on its side. "We are being hailed," the communications officer reported, her voice shaking. On the screen appeared a stern-faced human male with gray hair and a uniform filled with symbols of rank. "Alien vessel," he said, his voice hard as stone. "This is Admiral Frank Collins of the Earth Defense Alliance. You have fired upon and disabled an Earth ship without provocation. You are now surrounded and will power down your weapons immediately." Vrilix's looked at the tactical display again. More ships were appearing every minute. They were completely surrounded. The records were wrong. He realized with growing horror, Earth was never primitive. They were just hiding, and now we've attacked them. On the screen, Admiral Collins continued, "Your vessel will be boarded and your crew detained. How you are treated depends on the condition of the Scout's crew. You have 1 minute to comply." Vrillixes gave the only order he could. "Power down all weapons. We surrender." The bridge of the U.S. Liberty hummed with activity as Admiral Frank Collins watched the alien ship power down its weapons. Humans in blue and gray uniforms moved efficiently between stations, their faces serious but calm. "They've surrendered, sir," reported Lieutenant Samantha West from the tactical station. Her fingers moved quickly over her console as she monitored the alien vessel. No signs of trickery. Their weapon systems are offline. Collins nodded. "Maintain our position. Prepare boarding teams. I want their ships secured and their database copied." He turned to Captain Peter Murphy and Dr. Allison Clark. "This is our first confirmed alien contact. I need you both with me when we question them." A voice came over the communication system. "Admiral, this is Rescue Team Alpha. We've reached the Scout. The crew is alive but injured. Life support was damaged in the attack." Collins felt relief wash over him. "Get them to medical immediately." On the main screen, the alien ship looked small and vulnerable, surrounded by Earth vessels. For 30 years, the nations of Earth had prepared for this moment, building ships in secret, training crews, and developing weapons, all while pretending to be primitive and divided. "Sir," Lieutenant West called out, "we're getting more information from our sensor network. This isn't just a single scout ship. Long-range scans show a larger vessel waiting at the edge of the solar system." Collins frowned. "Show me." The screen changed to show a distant area of space. A ship much larger than the one they had captured sat just beyond Pluto's orbit. "It appears to be observing but not approaching," West reported. "Based on its energy signature, it's at least 5 times the size of the vessel we've captured." Collins made a quick decision. "Send the Defenders and the Guardians to establish a perimeter. I don't want any surprises." 4 massive battleships broke formation and moved toward the outer solar system, their engines glowing bright against the darkness of space. Meanwhile, the boarding teams had reached the alien vessel. Marines in space armor secured each section, while technical specialists began downloading information from alien computers. In a conference room aboard the Liberty, Collins received the first reports from the boarding teams. "The aliens call themselves the Galactic Confederation," explained Chief Engineer Dwayne Johnson. "Based on what we've found so far, they're an alliance of about 20 different species that controls most of this sector of the galaxy." Dr. Clark studied the images of the aliens on a tablet. "They're definitely not human. The commander has scales and 4 eyes. Some of the crew have tentacles instead of arms." "What about their technology?" Collins asked. "Advanced in some ways, surprisingly basic in others," Johnson replied. "Their faster-than-light travel is beyond our capabilities, but their weapons are less powerful than ours." "Less powerful?" Murphy asked, surprised. "How is that possible?" "Different development path," Johnson explained. "They focused on travel and communication. We focused on defense and firepower. They've been at peace for centuries. We've been preparing for war." Collins considered this information. "What do they know about us?" "Very little that's accurate," Johnson said. "They've been watching Earth for centuries, but their information is outdated and incomplete. They thought we were primitive, barely able to reach our own moon. They had no idea about our fleet or our Mars colonies." "Why were they hiding from us?" Clark asked. "Standard procedure for them. They classify developing worlds as protected wildlife preserves. No contact allowed until the species develops FTL travel on their own." Collins stood up and walked to the window. Outside, Earth ships moved in formation around the captured alien vessel. Ships that had been built in secret, crewed by men and women who had trained their entire lives for this moment. "Send a message to Earth governments," he ordered. "Tell them first contact has been made, and the situation is under control." He paused. "And tell them it's time for Phase 2. "Phase 2, sir?" Murphy asked. Collins turned, his face resolute. "Humanity has been hiding in its own solar system, building strength. Now it's time to show the galaxy who we really are." At that moment, alarms blared throughout the ship. "Admiral." Lieutenant West's voice came over the comm. "The alien mothership is moving. It's retreating at high speed." "Let it go," Collins said. "They'll be back. And when they return, they won't come alone." He looked at the star map showing thousands of systems beyond their own. "The galaxy is about to learn that Earth is not alone. And we are not afraid." The Grand Council chamber of the Galactic Confederation buzzed with angry voices. News had spread quickly about the encounter with Earth and its surprising fleet. The mothership that escaped had brought back images that shocked everyone. Council leader Zexstar struggled to maintain order, one at a time. "We must approach this logically." A large alien with gray skin and 6 arms rose from his seat. "How is this possible? The humans were supposed to be primitive. They have ships that match our own. And they captured one of our survey vessels," added another council member. "Commander Vrillix's and his entire crew are now prisoners." Zexstar raised his 4-fingered hands for silence. "Our information was clearly wrong. The humans have been hiding their true capabilities." Councillor Grek, known for his aggressive views, stepped forward. His red eyes glowed with anger. "This is unacceptable. We must respond with force immediately. These primitives attacked one of our ships. Actually, corrected a smaller alien with blue skin. Our records show that we fired first. The human ship merely requested identification. Details." Grek dismissed the correction with a wave. "The point is that humans have been developing military technology in secret. They now possess a fleet that threatens our control of this sector. We must crush them quickly before they become a larger problem." Several council members nodded in agreement. Others looked uncertain. "What do we know about their capabilities?" asked a female councillor with tentacles for hair. A military officer stepped forward, activating a holographic display. It showed images of Earth's ships. Their fleet consists of approximately 120 capital ships and over 600 support vessels. All were hidden throughout their solar system until now. Their technology level is mixed. They lack our faster-than-light capabilities, but their weapons and defensive systems are surprisingly advanced. Zexstar studied the images carefully. "They've been preparing for war. But why? We've never threatened them." "Perhaps because we've been watching them without their knowledge," suggested the blue-skinned counselor. "From their perspective, we might appear threatening." Grek laughed harshly. "Who cares about their perspective? They are still confined to their own solar system. We control thousands of worlds. I propose we send a battle group immediately to show these humans their proper place." Debate erupted again, but eventually most councillors agreed with Grek. A show of force was necessary. "Very well," Zexstar said reluctantly. "We will dispatch 7 warships to the Earth system. Their mission will be to secure the release of our captured crew and to deliver a message. The humans must disarm their fleet and accept Confederation authority or face consequences." On Earth, news of alien contact had spread worldwide. After decades of secrecy, governments revealed the existence of the Earth Defense Alliance and its fleet. People reacted with a mix of fear, pride, and determination. In the White House, the American president met with other world leaders via secure video link. "The captured alien ship has provided valuable information," explained the Chinese premier. "We now understand their language and some of their technology." "What about their intentions?" asked the Russian president. Admiral Collins, joining from the U.S. Liberty, answered. "Based on their communications, they're surprised and concerned. They've never encountered a species that developed in secret like we did. Their standard procedure is to monitor developing worlds until they achieve faster-than-light travel, then make contact. So they aren't necessarily hostile?" the Indian Prime Minister asked. "Not as a whole," Collins replied. But there are factions within their confederation that see us as a threat. We should expect a military response soon. The Brazilian president leaned forward. And are we ready for such a response? Collins nodded confidently. Yes. Chief Engineer Dwayne Johnson has already adapted some of our weapons based on what we've learned from the alien ship. And Lieutenant West has developed new tactical approaches specifically designed to counter their technology. The American president looked at each face on the screen. 30 years ago, our predecessors made a difficult choice: to unite in secret and build our defenses while pretending to be divided and primitive. That foresight has given us a fighting chance. A message alert interrupted the meeting. An aide whispered in Collins' ear. Mr. Presidents, Prime Ministers, Collins said gravely, our deep space sensors have detected 7 large vessels entering the outer solar system. The aliens have sent their response. How much time do we have? Asked the Japanese Prime Minister. At their current speed, approximately 18 hours until they reach Earth orbit. The American president straightened in his chair. Then we have 18 hours to prepare. Admiral Collins, you have full authority. The fate of Earth is in your hands. 16 hours later, Earth's fleet gathered near the orbit of Mars. 70 capital ships formed a wall of steel and titanium, with smaller vessels moving between them like bees around a hive. On the bridge of the U.S. Liberty, Admiral Collins studied the tactical display. The alien ships are slowing down, reported Lieutenant Samantha West. They'll reach our position in approximately 2 hours. Collins nodded. Status of our modifications. Chief Engineer Dwayne Johnson looked up from his station. Complete, sir. All ships have updated their targeting systems based on the alien technology we studied. Our weapons should be much more effective now. Dr. Allison Clark stood quietly nearby, still amazed by everything happening around her. Just days ago, she had been working in her lab, unaware that humans had ventured far beyond the moon. Now she was helping prepare for humanity's first space battle. What do we know about their weapons? She asked. Captain Peter Murphy pointed to the display. Their ships rely heavily on energy shields. Their actual hull armor is thinner than ours. They used plasma-based weapons, while we focused on kinetic and missile technology. Different development paths. Clark nodded, understanding. Collins addressed the bridge crew. We've trained for this moment for 30 years. We've studied every possible scenario. But remember, our primary goal is to establish peace from a position of strength. We don't want to destroy them if we can avoid it. The communication officer raised his hand. Sir, we're receiving a transmission from the approaching aliens. On screen, Collins ordered. The main screen lit up showing an alien with green scales and 4 eyes. Gold symbols decorated his uniform. I am General Kazur of the Galactic Confederation, the alien announced. You will return our survey vessel and crew immediately. Then you will disarm your fleet and submit to Confederation authority. Failure to comply will result in your destruction. Collins stepped forward. This is Admiral Frank Collins of the Earth Defense Alliance. Your survey vessel fired upon our ship without provocation. We responded with restraint. Your crew is unharmed and will be returned once we have guarantees of peaceful relations. Kazur's upper eyes narrowed. You are in no position to negotiate, human. Our technology is far superior to your primitive efforts. Collins remained calm. General, I suggest you scan our fleet more carefully before making threats. We prefer peace, but we are prepared for war. The alien made a dismissive gesture. Your ships are toys compared to ours. You have 1 hour to surrender, or we will open fire. The screen went dark. Charming fellow, Murphy commented. Collins turned to his crew. They're overconfident. That's good for us. Battle stations, everyone. And initiate Operation Mirror. Alarms sounded throughout the fleet as crews prepared for combat. On the Liberty, Collins gathered his senior officers for a final briefing. They expect us to be primitive and disorganized, he explained. They don't know that we've been studying their technology for years through their own monitoring devices that we discovered. Now we'll show them what humanity can do. Johnson unfolded a diagram on the table. Their ships generate an energy field that should protect them from conventional weapons. But we've developed pulse missiles specifically designed to disrupt those fields. And once their shields are down, West added, our rail guns can target their vulnerable areas. Collins nodded. Remember, we want to disable, not destroy. But if they give us no choice. The hour passed quickly. On the main screen, the 7 alien warships appeared, moving in perfect formation. They were beautiful in a strange way, with smooth curves and glowing sections unlike the more angular human vessels. They're charging weapons, West reported. The alien ships fired first, sending bright beams of energy toward Earth's fleet, but the human ships were already moving, breaking formation in a pattern that seemed chaotic, but was carefully planned. Evasive maneuvers, Collins ordered calmly. Deploy countermeasures and prepare first wave of pulse missiles. Around the Liberty, smaller ships released clouds of specialized particles that scattered the alien energy beams. Several human ships were hit, but their thick armor absorbed much of the damage. Return fire, Collins commanded. Operation Mirror is now active. From multiple directions, Earth ships launched their first attack. The battle for humanity's place among the stars had begun. General Kizur watched in disbelief as his perfect formation of Confederation warships broke apart under the human attack. This was not supposed to happen. Humans were primitive. Their weapons should have bounced harmlessly off Confederation shields. How is this possible? He demanded, his scales changing color with rage. Their missiles are penetrating our energy fields. His science officer worked frantically at her station. Unknown technology, sir. They're using some kind of pulse that disrupts our shield frequency. On the main screen, one of the Confederation cruisers spun out of control, its engines dark after taking multiple hits from human railguns. Return fire. Full power to all weapons, Kazur ordered. The remaining alien ships regrouped and launched a coordinated attack, sending powerful energy beams toward Earth's fleet. Several human vessels took direct hits. One smaller ship exploded in a ball of fire and metal. Aboard the U.S. Liberty, Admiral Collins gripped his command chair as the ship shook from a near miss. Damage report, he called out. Lieutenant West responded quickly. 3 ships heavily damaged. We've lost the Defiant. The rest of the fleet is holding formation. Collins nodded grimly. The loss of his ship and its crew weighed heavily, but he had to focus on the battle. Launch second wave of pulse missiles. Target their flagship. Across space, hundreds of small, fast missiles streaked toward the alien vessels. The Confederation ships tried to shoot them down, but there were too many. Dozens got through, exploding against the aliens' weakened shields. Their flagship shields are down, West announced excitedly. Collins leaned forward. Send the message. On Kazur's flagship, alarms blared as systems failed throughout the ship. Their shields were gone, and human vessels were surrounding them. We're receiving a transmission from the humans, reported his communications officer. Kazur, his pride wounded but not broken, nodded. On screen. Admiral Collins appeared before him. General Kazur, your ships are surrounded, and your shields are down. Our weapons are locked on your critical systems. Surrender now, and no more lives need to be lost today. Kazur hissed in anger. This is impossible. You're just primitives. A mistake in your assessment, Collins replied calmly. We discovered your monitoring devices decades ago. Instead of revealing that we knew, we studied them, learned from them, and prepared. Today's battle was planned 30 years ago. The alien general looked around at his damaged bridge, at the reports of failing systems and injured crew. 2 of his 7 ships were completely disabled. The others were surrounded by human vessels that outnumbered them 5 to 1. Stand down, he ordered his crew reluctantly. Cease fire. News of the battle spread quickly across the galaxy. On planets never visited by humans, beings of all kinds watched recordings of the confrontation. The mighty Confederation fleet, defeated by a species thought to be primitive. It was unprecedented. In a dusty bar on a distant space station called Nexus, aliens from a dozen worlds gathered around screens showing the battle. Many watched with fear, others with interest, and some with growing hope. A small furred alien leaned toward his larger companion. "Do you know what this means? If the humans could stand up to the Confederation, maybe others can too." Nearby, a female with blue scales nodded. "My people have been under Confederation rule for 3 centuries. Perhaps it's time we reconsidered our options." Similar conversations happened across thousands of worlds. Species that had long accepted Confederation dominance began to whisper of independence. Those who had resisted in secret saw new possibilities. On her first diplomatic mission beyond Earth, Ambassador Linda Harris stepped off the shuttle onto the Nexus station. She was the first human many of these aliens had ever seen. Conversation stopped as she walked by, all eyes following her. At the diplomatic meeting chamber, representatives from 12 different species waited nervously. Some were hostile, others curious, a few openly friendly. "Welcome," said the Nexus administrator, a tall being with crystalline skin. "You have caused quite a stir in our corner of the galaxy, Ambassador Harris." Linda smiled confidently. "Earth wishes to establish peaceful relations with all species. We have much to offer and much to learn." A representative from the Confederation, sent to keep an eye on this meeting, spoke up. The battle was a fluke. The full might of the Confederation would crush your tiny fleet. Linda turned to him, her expression calm but her eyes hard. "Perhaps, but ask yourself this. If what we revealed surprised you, what else might we have hidden?" The question hung in the air, making many of the aliens shift uncomfortably in their seats. Earth was no longer an isolated primitive world. It was now a player in galactic politics, and no one quite knew what that would mean for the future. 6 months after the battle, Earth had changed dramatically. Knowledge of alien life and humanity's secret space fleet was now common knowledge. People looked up at the night sky with new understanding of their place in the universe. In Geneva, a new building housed the Earth Diplomatic Corps, where representatives from 15 alien civilizations now had offices. Some came seeking trade, others military alliances, and a few simply wanted to learn more about the humans who had shocked the galaxy. Admiral Frank Collins walked through the busy halls, nodding to both humans and aliens as he passed. He still wore his uniform, though these days he spent more time in meetings than on his ship. "Admiral," called a familiar voice. Dr. Allison Clark hurried to catch up with him. "I've been looking everywhere for you." "Dr. Clark," he greeted her with a smile. "How goes the research?" Since the battle, Allison had led a team studying alien technology. Her quantum communication breakthrough had proven even more valuable than expected. "Better than we hoped," she replied excitedly. "We've adapted their faster-than-light communication system to work with my quantum method. It's twice as efficient as their original design." Collins nodded appreciatively. "That's why we're staying ahead. We're not just copying their technology. We're improving it." They entered a large conference room where Captain Peter Murphy waited with several government officials and military officers. "Let's begin," said the Secretary General of the United Nations. "What's the current status with the Confederation?" Collins stepped forward, tense but stable. "They've formally recognized Earth as a sovereign power and agreed to non-interference in our solar system. But our intelligence suggests they're debating whether to launch a full-scale war against us." "Can we win such a war?" asked the concerned official. "Not yet," Collins answered honestly. "We defeated 7 of their ships, but they have thousands. We need more time to build our forces and develop our technology. And we need allies," added Ambassador Linda Harris, who had just returned from another diplomatic mission. "Fortunately, not everyone in this galaxy loves the Confederation. I signed preliminary agreements with the Arcturian Alliance and the free worlds of Centauri. They're willing to share technology and resources." Peter Murphy brought up a star map on the main screen. "We've established our first colonies beyond the solar system. Alpha Centauri and Tau Ceti now have permanent human settlements. We've also built defensive stations at these key points. The Secretary General looked pleased. So we're expanding carefully while building our strength. What about the captured alien technology? Allison spoke up. Their faster-than-light drive has been successfully reverse-engineered. The U.S. Discovery completed its first FTL jump last week. We can now reach nearby star systems in days instead of years. And the quantum communication breakthrough means we can coordinate our fleet across vast distances instantly, added Collins, something even the Confederation can't do. The meeting continued as they discussed resources, ship production, and training programs. Earth was transforming itself into a spacefaring civilization at remarkable speed. Later that evening, Collins stood at the large window in his office, looking up at the stars. So much had changed in just 6 months. Humanity had gone from hiding its capabilities to boldly establishing itself among the stars. A notification chimed on his desk. The newly commissioned U.S. Horizon had just departed Earth orbit on its first deep space mission. He smiled, remembering his own first command. Commander Aaron Miller sat in the captain's chair of the Horizon, excitement and pride filling his chest as Earth grew smaller on the view screen. His ship would explore beyond where any human had gone before, seeking new allies and charting unknown regions. Course set for the Pleiades, sir, reported his navigation officer. Engage, Aaron ordered. As the stars streaked and the ship leaked into faster-than-light travel, he thought about the strange journey that had brought humanity to this point. For centuries, alien civilizations had watched Earth, believing humans were alone and primitive. They never imagined that humanity would not only detect them but prepare in secret. They never expected Earth would build a battleship fleet capable of standing against the galaxy's greatest power. Aaron looked ahead at the endless possibilities stretching before them. They thought Earth was alone, he said quietly to himself. They were wrong, and now the universe will never be the same. In the vast darkness between stars, the Horizon continued on its journey, carrying the hopes and determination of a species that had finally found its place among the stars.